The air was thick with smog. A constant haze hung low in the sky, blocking out the sun. Earth, once vibrant and teeming with life, was now gasping for breath. Overpopulation and pollution had pushed the planet to its breaking point. Natural disasters were commonplace. Earthquakes, floods and storms ravaged the land, leaving behind scars of destruction. Lena, a young engineer with eyes that still held a spark of hope, knew the truth. She had seen the reports, the grim statistics that painted a bleak future. Resources were dwindling, time was running out. But Lena clung to the belief that something could be done, that somewhere a solution existed. Lena's father, a renowned scientist, had dedicated his life to finding a way to heal the planet. He believed in the legend of the Lantern, a mythical machine said to possess the power to restore balance to Earth. But his research had been dismissed as fantasy, his warnings ignored. Now he was gone, leaving Lena with nothing but his notes and a faint glimmer of hope. One evening, while sifting through her father's old research files, Lena stumbled upon something extraordinary. Hidden amongst the equations and diagrams was a faded leather-bound journal. Its pages contained her father's handwritten notes, filled with cryptic symbols and complex calculations. And then she saw it. A map. The map, drawn with meticulous detail, depicted a route through the ruins of an abandoned megacity. A note scribbled in the margin read, "The path to the Lantern." Lena's heart pounded in her chest. Could this be real? Could her father's research be the key to saving their dying world? The map was more than just a guide, it was a beacon of hope in a world consumed by despair. Lena knew she had to follow it, to find the Lantern and fulfill her father's legacy. But the journey would be perilous. The abandoned city was rumored to be fraught with danger. Environmental hazards, collapsed structures, and desperate scavengers vying for control of the ruins. Lena knew she couldn't do this alone. She needed a team, people with the skills and courage to face the unknown. With a deep breath and a resolute glint in her eye, Lena began to gather her allies. The first person Lena turned to was her childhood friend Samir. A skilled mechanic and resourceful scavenger, Samir knew the city's underbelly like the back of his hand. He was hesitant at first, skeptical of the legend of the Lantern, but Lena's unwavering determination and the desperate state of their world convinced him to join her cause. Next, Lena sought out Maya, a brilliant but reclusive doctor, ostracized for her unorthodox methods and unwavering empathy for the sick and suffering. Maya, driven by a deep desire to heal, saw a chance to make a real difference, to alleviate the suffering that plagued their world. Finally, Lena convinced Reza, an older, seasoned explorer and cartographer, to join their expedition. Reza, haunted by the memories of the world before its decline, saw in Lena's quest a chance to atone for past regrets and leave behind a legacy of hope for future generations. Together, this unlikely team, bound by a shared sense of purpose and a glimmer of hope, set out towards the abandoned city, their sights set on finding the Lantern and restoring balance to their dying world. The journey ahead would test their limits, challenge their beliefs, and force them to confront not just the external dangers, but also their own inner demons. The journey to the abandoned city was arduous and fraught with danger. The team traversed through desolate landscapes, the remnants of once thriving ecosystems now choked by pollution and littered with debris. The air grew heavier with each passing mile, filled with the stench of decay and the constant threat of toxic storms. Upon reaching the city's outskirts, they were met with a sight both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Towering skyscrapers, once symbols of human achievement, now stood as crumbling sentinels, casting long shadows over the debris-strewn streets below. The silence was eerie, broken only by the howling wind whistling through the shattered windows of deserted buildings. Navigating the treacherous maze of collapsed buildings and flooded tunnels, they relied on Samir's knowledge of the city's underbelly and Reza's navigational skills. Maya, ever vigilant, tended to their injuries and kept a watchful eye out for signs of danger. Through it all, Lena's unwavering belief in the Lantern served as their guiding light, pushing them forward even when hope seemed lost. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the city, they encountered other survivors, some friendly, others driven to desperate measures to protect their own. The city, once a symbol of human progress, was now a testament to their capacity for both resilience and ruthlessness. Section 5. The shadows of the city. The city was a living labyrinth. Each day brought new challenges, new dangers lurking around every corner. Collapsed buildings turned into treacherous traps. Toxic rain forced them to seek shelter in the skeletal remains of abandoned homes. Food and clean water were scarce, forcing them to scavenge for scraps and rely on Maya's ingenuity to purify what little water they could find. They encountered other groups vying for control of the city's meager resources. Some, like them, were simply trying to survive. Others, hardened by the harsh realities of their broken world, had turned ruthless and territorial. One such group, known as the Vultures, had established a fearsome reputation for their brutality and their willingness to exploit others for their own gain. Lena and her team tried to avoid conflict, believing that cooperation was their best chance for survival. But the Vultures, led by the cunning and ruthless Kale, saw Lena's map as a threat, a means to upset the balance of power they had so carefully constructed. They became relentless in their pursuit, determined to claim the lantern for themselves. Lena found herself caught in a desperate struggle for survival, not just against the harsh realities of their environment, but also against the darkness that seemed to consume those who had lost all hope. It was a constant battle to hold on to her own faith, to believe that the lantern was more than just a myth, that it represented a chance for a better future. Section 6. The price of survival. The closer they got to their destination, the more dangerous their journey became. One particularly harrowing encounter with the Vultures left Razor grievously injured. Maya, despite her best efforts, could only do so much with their limited supplies. Razor, his voice weak but his spirit unbroken, urged them to go on without him. He knew that his injuries would only slow them down, putting them all at risk. He made them promise to find the lantern, to keep the hope for a better future alive. With heavy hearts, they honored Razor's sacrifice. They left him with what little supplies they could spare, knowing that their chances of finding him alive again were slim. The weight of their loss hung heavy on their souls, a stark reminder of the price they were willing to pay for a chance to save their world. Lena, racked with guilt and grief, began to question everything. Was the hope of the lantern worth the sacrifices they were being forced to make? Was it fair to ask so much of her team, to risk their lives for a legend that might very well be nothing more than a cruel fantasy? Section 7. The Weight of the World. The map led them to an old abandoned power plant, half swallowed by the encroaching vegetation. Inside they found it. A massive machine pulsating with an eerie blue light, the lantern. It was even more impressive than anything Lena had dared imagine. But their moment of triumph was short-lived. Kale and the Vultures were waiting for them. A tense standoff ensued. Kale, eyes blazing with a mixture of greed and desperation, demanded they hand over the lantern. He believed it held the key to power, a means to control the city and its remaining resources. Lena refused. She had come too far, sacrificed too much to let Kale twist the lantern's power to serve his own selfish ambitions. She believed in her heart that the lantern was meant for something greater, that it held the potential to heal their broken world, not plunge it further into darkness. A struggle ensued, a desperate fight for the fate of their world. Samir's mechanical skills proved invaluable as he fought to protect Lena and Maya, buying them time to activate the lantern. Maya, her medical expertise put to a different kind of test, used her knowledge of chemistry to create diversions, exploiting their surroundings to level the playing field. In the chaos, a stray blast struck a critical support beam. The structure groaned, threatening to collapse, potentially burying the lantern and everyone with it. Lena was faced with an impossible choice: activate the lantern and risk a catastrophic overload, or flee and watch as their last hope for a better future crumbled before their eyes. Section 8. A New Dawn. Lena knew what she had to do. With a heavy heart but unwavering resolve, she made a choice. She ordered Samir and Maya to escape, to survive and rebuild. Lena would activate the lantern, even if it meant paying the ultimate price. Samir and Maya protested, refusing to leave her side. But Lena stood firm. She reminded them of their purpose, of the sacrifices they had already made. Their survival, their hope for a better future, rested on her shoulders. With tears in their eyes, Samir and Maya obeyed, escaping moments before the structure gave way. As the world crumbled around her, Lena reached for the lantern's control panel. A surge of energy coursed through her veins as she initiated the activation sequence. A blinding light filled the chamber, followed by a deafening roar. Then silence. Samir and Maya, watching from a distance, saw the power plant collapse in on itself, taking Lena and the lantern with it. Despair threatened to consume them, but then something miraculous happened. Section 9. Seeds of Hope. The sky, for so long choked by smog, began to clear. A gentle rain, the first in years, washed away the dust and grime, leaving behind the scent of fresh earth. The sun, a distant memory, broke through the parting clouds, casting a warm golden glow upon the ruined city. The lantern's energy, though contained within the imploded power plant, had somehow resonated with the planet, triggering a chain reaction that began to heal the ravaged earth. The air, though still carrying the scars of pollution, felt lighter, cleaner. Plants long dormant sprouted new life, pushing through the cracks in the concrete, a testament to the resilience of nature. Lena was gone, her sacrifice a poignant reminder of the cost of hope. But her courage, her unwavering belief in a brighter future, had sparked a flicker of light in a world consumed by darkness. As Samir and Maya looked upon the nascent dawn, they knew their journey was far from over. They carried with them the weight of Lena's sacrifice, the responsibility to ensure that her death was not in vain. The world was still broken, but there was hope. The seeds of change had been sown. It was now up to the living to nurture them, to rebuild their world upon a foundation of resilience, compassion, and an unwavering belief in the power of hope, even in the face of overwhelming darkness.